I was just wanted to tell you about an incident at the Ottawa International Airport that happened on May 9th when my daughter and I went to check in for our flight, which was connecting in Toronto to Paris, so an international flight that we were scheduled to go on. And I was told that my passport couldn't be accepted due to a small discoloration on the left-hand side of the passport. And I had just flown to California a week and a half earlier, and so had already used my passport and wasn't expecting anything to happen at the web check-in except to get our boarding pass perhaps. But I said, well, it might have been from some rain because it had been in my purse during a big rainstorm. And he said, well, it doesn't matter, we can't accept this. And I said, well, I have 4 pieces of photo ID. I can, it's not, my face is still the same. You can still see who I am. It was about the length of a thumbnail, I would have to say, a small red discoloration or smudge. But there was no convincing this young man. And after about 10 minutes or 15 minutes of this, after the shock and disbelief sort of wore off, I realized we definitely weren't going to be able to board this plane. And he said I'd have to go to the passport office and get a new passport. So I said, you mean now? And I said, well, we'd miss our flight. He goes, oh, well, there's another one tomorrow. No, I said, oh, very nonchalantly. I said, well, we have things booked. I mean, we've already got our hotel booked. Oh, well, you can just let them know. And so anyway, it was obvious that this wasn't going to happen. And then he intimated we'd have to pay for another airline ticket, at which point I got extremely upset. And then he said, well, since I was being so civil, he would extend an olive branch and they would reschedule us for the next day. My daughter and I, my daughter was quite shocked at the whole thing as well, and we jumped in an Uber, went to the passport office, got there 5 minutes before they closed, and luckily got a very lovely woman who helped us through it. She said, don't worry, I'm going to take care of this. We're going to get you your passport by tomorrow. And all the paperwork had to be done, a photo had to be taken, references, and all the rest. Anyway, it's still a pretty unbelievable story, and the worst part was there was no one else to talk to. The young fellow claimed he was the manager, and there was no reasoning with anyone. So we just had to go along with it, and we did get there a day later, so that is the happy ending to the story. At least we got out and just had to shorten our trip and incur quite a few expenses, I'd have to say, $250 for an expedited passport, some cancellation fees we couldn't retrieve for some tours we booked. But the worst part was the aggravation and the upset that, when you go to check in and you have a valid passport, that expires in 2024 and you're denied boarding because of a small smudge.